POV Italian Cooking, where you see cooking from my point of view. As I shared in the last video, I'm actually filming 2 episodes at the same time. I'm making a main dish, and then I'm making a side dish. This episode is going to focus on the side dish, which is Gnocchi Mac and Cheese. Like the 2 best things in the world. We all grew up eating mac and cheese, and if you've ever had gnocchi, oh my gosh, it's filling, that nice starchy, chewy goodness. Well, we're going to combine them. This is a fun recipe to make. Never made it. Looks fun, so we'll say it's fun. So, you'll see, like in the last video, I'm wearing the same everything because I'm doing this at the same time. I'm just kind of splitting up the steps so you can see them separately. Again, the goal was to keep these under 20 minutes. It's the last time I'm going to say this because I've said that now in 3 videos, and now I'm repeating myself and making the video longer when I want it to be shorter. Yeah. So I'm going to shut up now, and we're going to go take a look at our ingredients for Gnocchi Mac and Cheese. Thanks. We'll get started. Okay, let's review our ingredients for our Gnocchi Mac and Cheese. Now, of course, we're going to use 1 pound of gnocchi. We're going to do a roux, then we're going to melt in some cheese and milk, and then we're going to do a topping of panko. So let's talk first about our roux. Roux is going to be real simple. We're going to start with some pancetta. This is 3 ounces of pancetta. We're going to chop this up real fine. We're going to put this in our pan, get it hot, render out the fat, and then we're going to use 2 tablespoons of unsalted butter and 2 tablespoons of all-purpose flour to make our roux. And then once our roux is going, we've got it browned, which we'll talk more about that later. We're going to use 1 cup of milk. We're going to use a 1/2 cup of white cheddar cheese. I've got some Vermont sharp white cheddar. We're going to use a 1/2 cup of Gruyere, a 1/2 cup of Parmesan, and we're going to put the milk and the cheese in the roux and work it and let it thicken up. And then on top of once we get everything mixed together, then once we put it in a pan, we're going to top it with some panko and salt and pepper to taste. Parsley we're going to kind of use to top it to give it a little bit of color. So, and we're going to have, of course, everything we do has a little bit of garlic in it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to break away. Our cheese needs to be shredded. Okay, I cheated. I bought shredded Gruyere cheese, but I'm going to go ahead and shred the cheese that we need. I'm going to go ahead and chop up our pancetta, measure out all of our ingredients, and chop up our garlic. Once I got everything ready, son's home, so the dogs are barking. So anyway, I'm going to kind of get some prep done, then I'm going to come back. Now I do have my water on the stove heating because the gnocchi needs to boil for about 3 or 4 minutes. So that way when we're ready for the water, it'll be ready for us. So I'm going to break away, be right back. Okay, we are set up by the stove. I've got this pan heating. What we're first going to do is take our 2 to 3 ounces of pancetta. Now what I've done is I had a 3-ounce pack, but it looked like a lot, so I took out about a 1/2 ounce after I got it chopped. So we're going to go ahead and render the fat out of this and cook it really till it's crispy, and that fat's going to help flavor the rest of our dish. Now a lot of folks will ask, what the heck is pancetta? Looks like bacon. Well, essentially it is. It's Italian bacon. The only difference is they don't smoke it. So if you don't like the smoky flavor of bacon, then this is the way it goes. Sometimes that smoky flavor can overtake a dish that I found. So I don't like to cook with bacon because of that smokiness, but I like to cook with pancetta because you get that salty flavor and the good grease. You just don't get that smoky flavor. So some of these pieces you'll see I didn't do a real good job of chopping them, so we're just going to pick them up and kind of tear them up. You hear that sizzle? Just going to render the fat out of these and let them get brown. It won't be a lot of fat because again, we're only talking 2.5–3 ounces of pancetta, but what we do get will be packed with flavor. You'll see here on the back burner, I've got some water boiling. What we're going to do, and we can go ahead and do this, get ready to do this here in a minute, but I'll go ahead and take it out. That's for our gnocchi. Our gnocchi, we're going to drop it. It's going to boil for about 2 or 3 minutes. As soon as it starts floating, we're going to start getting it out of the water because If not, it will get chewy. And if you've ever had chewy gnocchi, it's not a good thing. So, go ahead and get our gnocchi ready to pour in there. Now I'm using the mini gnocchi just because I thought it would be better for this dish. In my mind, it just, you know, the smaller gnocchi would be better for the mac and cheese. Now you'll see here, starting to brown up a little bit. It's starting to stick to the bottom. That's okay, because we're gonna use this same pan to make our roux, and those little bits and pieces that stick to the bottom are flavor packets. So while this is browning, I'm gonna go ahead and break away because I want to rearrange a few things here just to get my workspace a little cleaner. We'll be right back. It's getting pretty close. Some of this over here looks like it's ready, so we'll go ahead and put it back in our little pan there, or a little cup. So it'll be right there and waiting for us when we are ready for it. Now anytime you make a roux, use a wooden spoon, because you want to be able to scrape the bottom of the pan. And you know, some of your pans, if you use a metal, it can scrape your pan, but you always want to be scraping the bottom with the roux, again, because there's little bits of flavor down there. Alright, so this pancetta is ready. I'm going to turn my heat down just while I get this out, mainly because it's popping and it's burning, and I don't want to start, you know, whining like a little kid, because that's all my wife needs, is to hear me whine more. So, alright, there we go. We got most of it. That's what you want to do. You want to get most of it. I'm going to get this spatula thrown in the sink. Butter in the pool. Flour in the pool. Start stirring this. Got my wooden spoon. We're just going to stir. And what we want to do is we want to cook this. Really, you want to see it get brown, but the key is cook the flour taste out of it. Anytime you make a roux, if you just kind of do this and say, it looks brown, now guess what? You might as well just dump raw flour into it, because that's what it's going to taste like. You got to cook it for a few minutes. You know, in one of our earlier episodes, we made lasagna alla bolognese, where you do a butter and flour roux, and you cook that for, gosh, 10, 12, 15 minutes. So I'm going to cook this roux. See, I'm kind of scraping the bottom of the pan to get those wonderful flavor bits in there. I'll turn my heat back up a little bit. I had it way down while I was getting everything in the pan. I'm going to cook this for, oh gosh, 2 or 3 minutes. And then we're going to pour in our milk. So, hang with me. We'll be back. Alright, it's been about a minute and a half, 2 minutes. You can see our roux is turning a nice light brown. Hopefully you can see that color. Try to get it down here closer so you can maybe take a peek. It's a chest-mounted camera. Sometimes I'm kind of squatting over so you can see everything. Well, what we're going to do now is we are going to stir in 1 cup of whole milk. It's real important that you use whole milk here. So that goes in the pool. We're going to stir this because we want all of our roux to get incorporated evenly in the milk. And we're going to stir this just like this, non-stop stirring for a couple minutes until we start to see it thicken. So, rather than have you watch me, you know, I'm sure it's real exciting to watch somebody stir stuff for a couple minutes. And if you're looking for that, God love you. You got to get a hobby, get something better to do. But anyway, going to break away. When this starts to thicken here in just a couple minutes, I'll come back. Alright, this is starting to thicken. While that's thickening, I'm going to go ahead and dump our pancetta in. Ow. Hot. Break it up. Turn that water heat up there. When that starts to float, which is going to be about 3 or 4 minutes, we will pull it right out and put it in our pan we have here for it. Pull that closer. Alright, so you can see here this is really starting to thicken up. We're going to add our garlic, finely minced garlic. So there's about 2 cloves there. Get that incorporated. Then we are going to, come on water, we're going to go ahead on low. We're going to keep our heat low. We're going to add our cheese. We're just going to keep stirring until this gets melted. Nice and even melt. We want it to be completely melted. let's go ahead and put in, while we're waiting on this to melt, again, my heat is turned on low. A little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper, whole lot of stirring. Isn't that fun? This is starting to just about got it. Our gnocchi is, we got a few pieces starting to float. As they start to float, you want to take them out. Again, we don't want them chewy. There's pieces that are, man, they're not constantly floating. They're kind of boiling up and going back down, so we're going to give them just another minute or so. Our gnocchi is done. What we're going to do is we're going to go right to our pan rather than that bowl. If you get a little bit of your starch water in there, hey, that's fine. Starch water never killed anybody. And quite honestly, if you're making pasta, you always want to save your starch water, because if you need a little bit of extra sauce, you just dump your starch water in there. And starch water also will serve as a thickening agent. So we get our gnocchi, we put our pancetta back in there, and we just stir this all together. Get everything incorporated. Get that gnocchi covered with cheese. And once we get this all incorporated, we are going to put it in an oven-safe baking dish. This is pretty much ready to go. Oh my gosh, that smells good. I'm gonna turn our heat off. Grab our baking dish. We're just gonna put it right in here. Now, there's a little topping that we're gonna put on this to give it a little crunchy top. Let's make sure we get all of our cheese. We spent the time making this cheese. By gosh, we're going to get every little bit in there. Now, have your oven preheated. Your oven goes on 375. This is going to bake, oh gosh, it's going to bake probably 10-15 minutes. Alright, so we got our gnocchi in our pan. Let's get it spread out. Now, we got to quickly, we're going to mix together our crunchy top for this. So, going to reset. Be right back. Okay, we've got our gnocchi mac and cheese right here. What we're going to do is you want to use a half a cup of panko breadcrumbs. Get them in your bowl. Then we are going to add 2 teaspoons of olive oil. You guys know I normally don't like to measure stuff. This is the first time I'm making this recipe, so I'm doing it by the book, because at some point I'll make this again and think, gee, I like it this way, or I want to try this, and then I'll make it my own. Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to get our hands in there so we can incorporate that olive oil clear through the panko. See here, it'll all mix through, and we're just going to sprinkle this. I had a terrible time saying sprinkle there. We're just going to sprinkle this on top of our gnocchi mac and cheese. This will add a layer of texture, a nice crunchy agent to the gnocchi mac and cheese. I didn't do a real good job spreading this even in my pan, but you know what? I don't do this for a living. So, if you're having guests over, by all means, even out your pan. So, watching E! Entertainment out of the side of my eye here too. Seeing who's getting divorced and who's getting married and who bought kids on eBay. Alright, then we're just going to take some dry parsley. You can use fresh parsley as well, and just kind of sprinkle it on the top. Of course, fresh parsley, a little better for color. Now, this goes in the oven, 375, what did I say here? I got a note written down so I don't forget, and I forgot. 375 for 10 to 15 minutes. Then it comes out. You want to leave it until it's brown on top. I'll show you that. Now I do have my main course in the oven right now, but I'm going to go ahead and throw this in with it. So I'm going to break away, wash my hands, throw this in the oven. We'll be right back. All right, it's time to take out our gnocchi mac and cheese. So let's take a look. Oh yeah, perfect. Just starting to brown on top. Looks really, really nice. Let's get the camera close to that. Squatting down over it, hurting my back. Now, if your kids say it's not yellow enough, because you know they're used to the old highly dyed yellow Kraft mac and cheese, it's easy to trick kids with a little bit of food color. You know, while you're mixing your cheese up, drop a few drops of yellow or orange in there just to kind of get it a darker tint. I'm going to share a story with you on how easy it is to trick kids with just a little bit of food color. When my wife was growing up, you know, they'd be out in the yard playing, and they'd come in and tell mom, and Joanne's her mom, say, you know, they're thirsty and they wanted some Kool-Aid. So what she would do, every now and then, didn't do this every time, but she would take some red food color, put it in water with a little bit of sugar, and serve that to them, and they would say, this doesn't taste right, but they'd drink it. So, you know, if you can make them think a few drops of red food coloring and a little bit of sugar is Kool-Aid, then by gosh, you could fool them into thinking this is boxed mac and cheese. So I'm going to let that rest for just a minute because it's still kind of sizzling. And then we're going to plate this up and see how it turned out. All right, so we have our food plated up, and it looked good. Look at that. That looked good. I can't wait to eat that. Won't tell you what just happened off camera. Bad as I want to. So let's give it a shot. Everybody's busy. My wife's got running some errands. She's just got home. So my youngest son is working. The oldest son doesn't want to be in the video tonight because he just got home. Daughter's back at college. So I'm here, you know, eating on my own. Wow. It's good. The chicken is lightly breaded, done clear through. That Parmesan taste comes through. Really good texture from some of the breading on it. So let's try our gnocchi. You're gonna like this, honey.
See everything you
Look at that. This is good. This looks really good. Now, I'm gonna find somebody to give me a second opinion. So I'm gonna go on pause, and somebody in this house is gonna give me a second opinion on this mac and cheese and chicken. All right, I found somebody that's gonna help me taste it, and as you can see, she's ready. This is Josie. She's my baby. You want to try some mac and cheese? No, I hate to say this, but I feed her like this all the time. She's people. See, she's people. She's not a dog. What do you think? It's good. It's really, really good, Daddy. Now we're going to try the chicken. Ready for a bite of chicken? My dog can eat off a fork. She's going to also drink through a straw and use the toilet. Not really, but she can eat off a fork. What do you think? Did you get the puppy approval? Give me a kiss. Give Dirty push. Oh, she wants more. She's a brat. All right, so Italian Parmesan chicken, baked Parmesan chicken, gnocchi mac and cheese, dog approved. I'm as tempted as I am to dig in with this fork. I'm probably going to get a new one. Like us on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter. Follow us on Twitter, bud. Follow us on Twitter. And hit subscribe. Thanks for watching POV Italian. Ciao. Thanks for watching POV Italian. To stay informed of future episodes, just click the subscribe button in the lower left-hand corner of your screen. Yeah, if you have any comments or you want to learn how to prepare a particular Italian dish, put that down in the comments below. I'll read all the comments. Don't forget to follow us on social media. If you look on Instagram at instagram.com/POVItalian, on Twitter at twitter.com/POVItalian, and on Facebook at facebook.com/POVItalian. If you'd like to contact me by email, you can contact me at povitalian@gmail.com. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you later. Ciao.